Hi there, boys and girls, and welcome back to Conquering Math, where it all adds up. Today you will be learning about the commutative and associative properties of multiplication and addition. Let's dive on in. By the end of today's lesson, you will be able to use the commutative and associative properties of addition and multiplication to rewrite and simplify algebraic expressions. Our Common Core state standards today are to apply the properties of operations to generate equivalent expressions and to identify when two expressions are equivalent. We'll start by defining the associative and commutative properties. The associative property of addition, or the associative property of multiplication, states that the grouping of numbers and variables in an expression can be changed without changing the sum in an addition problem, or the product in a multiplication problem. Here are two examples. In parentheses, a plus b plus c is equivalent to a plus, in parentheses, b plus c. Or, for a multiplication problem, in parentheses 4 times 5 times 8 is equivalent to 4 times parentheses 5 times 8. Notice that the groupings here are being done with parentheses. Now let's take a look at the commutative property. The commutative property of addition or multiplication. The order of numbers and variables in an expression can be changed without changing the sum in an addition problem or the product in a multiplication problem. Here are two examples. 10 plus 7 is equal to 7 plus 10, or a times b is equal to b times a. We'll start by looking at examples of the associative properties. We will need to simplify the algebraic expressions. For part A, we have 4 times parentheses 11k. Remember that 11k means 11 times k. These properties are important because if we follow the order of operations, or PEMDAS, we must solve the inside of the parentheses first. But because we don't know k, we can't figure out what 11 times k is. So we'll use the associative property of multiplication to regroup. And now we have 4 times 11, in parentheses, times k. 4 times 11 is 44, so our expression simplifies to 44k. Now we'll look at an addition example. W plus 15, all in parentheses, plus 9. We'll use the associative property of addition to regroup, so we have W plus, parentheses, 15 plus 9. This simplifies down to W plus 24. Now let's take a look at some commutative property examples. We'll start with an addition example. 3 plus g plus 5. We can rearrange using the commutative property of addition, and we'll find the expression 3 plus 5 plus g. Simplifying, this becomes 8 plus g. Now let's take a look at a multiplication example. 6p times 7. This time we'll use the commutative property of multiplication, and we find 6 times 7p. We can simplify this down to 42p. Let's take a look at two examples that use both properties. We'll start with 2.5 times parentheses z times 4. The first thing we need to do is use the commutative property of multiplication, and we find that the expression is now 2.5 times parentheses 4 times z. Next, we'll use the associative property of multiplication to simplify, and we find the expression parentheses 2.5 times 4 times z. 2.5 times 4 is 10, so this simplifies to 10z. Now let's take a look at an addition example. Parentheses 4 plus x plus 8. Use the commutative property of addition to rearrange, and we have parentheses x plus 4 plus 8. Next, we will use the associative property of addition, and we have x plus parentheses 4 plus 8, which simplifies to x plus 12. As usual, we will finish up with a real-world example. A box of fruit snacks contains 24 packs. Each pack contains 10 fruit snacks. Write an expression to represent the total number of fruit snacks if there are B boxes of fruit snacks in the pantry. We'll start with the expression 10 times parentheses 24b. B stands for boxes. The 24 are the number of packs per box, and the 10 is the number of fruit snacks in each pack. We'll use the associative property of multiplication to rewrite, and we have parentheses 10 times 24 times B. This simplifies to 240B. So there are 240 fruit snacks per box in the pantry. Today you learned how to use the commutative and associative properties of addition and multiplication to rewrite and simplify algebraic expressions. The Common Core state standards today were to apply the properties of operations to generate equivalent expressions and to identify when two expressions are equivalent. Now that you are familiar with these techniques, complete the independent practice problems in your guided notes packet. Then watch the independent practice solutions video to check your work. Thanks for watching this episode of Conquering Math, where it all adds up. I'll see you next time.